Here are 10 ways to make more money in boss events. To start, we'll want to either use Benjamin or Geraldo as our hero. We'll start with the Ben tips and move over to the Geraldo ones later on. For Ben, we'll defend with as little as possible and get him down as fast as we can. This normally comes down to defending the first few rounds with our free dart monkey, but you can always defend with more if you need to. Once Ben is down, we'll save up for a banana farm and work towards making it a 2-0-0. This can be out of reach for our current defenses, even with us using Ben's ability during the difficult rounds, so get down an engineer once you start leaking. This guy's surprisingly good at defending, works well with Ben's biohack, and is very important later on. Once we have a greater production farm, we'll get another one. This will take a few rounds, but sets up for our first tip to make more money. We'll be getting a banana bank on round 19. Upgrade your first farm to a 2-2-0 and your second one to a 2-0-2. Next, we just have to save up about $1,100 where we'll sell our farm with banana salvage to get the money for a 2-3-0 banana bank. Ideally, we'll get this between rounds 18 and 19. If you're on a harder map or aren't running Benjamin, we'll do something different, but more on that later. Getting a bank here works perfectly with timing the rounds, and Ben's bank boost lets it make more money. This is when the rounds get a little tough, so we'll upgrade our engineer to a 0-1-3 double gun. This gives him way more range, extra attack speed, and the pin effect, making him a monster at taking out these early rounds. Then we'll place down an alchemist near the front of the track and upgrade it to a 0-0-3 lead to gold. We want this by round 26 for Dread Bloon, but for every other boss, we only need it by round 28. Dread Bloons round 26 can be pretty tough, but if you skip upgrading the engineer until after getting the lead to gold, you'll get it just fine. But this guy will take out all the leads for most of the run and give us $50 extra for each one. Plus, we get to make him a rubber to gold later on. Going into round 30, we can collect our bank and get down some farms. With this $9,500, we'll get a 0-0-2 village and build two 0-2-3 marketplaces next to it. These will provide us some nice cash flow every round, and they sell for a lot later on. Next, we just have to do two things: get camo popping power for round 33 and a bloon trap for 34. I like to pop the camos with a crossbow near the back of the track, but it's up to you. As for the bloon trap, we'll want to upgrade it to a 0-1-4 after round 33 ends. This way, we can pick where the trap will be placed, and we want it as far forward as possible. Ideally, that's also on an intersection, but if you messed up like I did here, it's not that big of a deal. The only tower you want attacking before the bloon trap is your alchemist, otherwise everything should be behind the trap. The reason why we want the trap up and running for 34 is because that's when tons of bloons start coming per round and it quickly pays itself off. But now we can kind of coast to the boss. Place 2-0-3 marketplaces all around the discount village until you get to around 37 or 38. At this point, you won't profit by having them down, so just make some money until the boss comes. On round 40, sell all of your marketplaces and villages and prep your defenses. If there's water on the map, try to sell everything in range of a flavored trades buccaneer, as that makes everything sell for 10% more. Then just defend however necessary. As for the banana bank, I like to wait until round 41 to sell it because that's when it reaches its max of $9,500 and round 40 is a quick one. This isn't necessary, but I like to squeeze that extra $1,000 out of the bank. With this money though, tier 1 should be pretty easy to defend and you can go way overkill like I did here. Once you pop the boss, sell your defenses, preferably in range of a flavored trades buck, and get back to farming. Here we have a crossroads. If there's water on the map, 100% pivot to boat farming. Get down a trade empire, a couple discount villages, and spend the next couple rounds placing 20 merchantmen. Then upgrade all of them to flavored trades and get down 10 central markets. If there isn't water though, we'll do something interesting. Step 1. Make a 1-farm monkeyopolis in range of our engineer. We'll do this by placing 3 to 4 discount villages in range of each other, getting down a base farm, and upgrading one of the villages to a 105 monkeyopolis. Feel free to sell all the discount villages after this purchase, but the monkeyopolis will give us plenty of money, make the next few monkeys cheaper, and the traps worth more. Step 2. Get down a second bloon trap engineer and 2 cleansing foams. Put these traps and foams up front so as many bloons get trapped as possible. Step 3. Upgrade our alchemist to a 104 rubber to gold, so every bloon it touches is worth more money. Step 4. Place down a farm in range of the monkeyopolis and work towards making it a 420 BRF. This will likely take a couple rounds, but once we get the upgrade, we'll be rolling in money. Then upgrade one of your cleansing foam engineers to an overclock and constantly use its ability on the BRF. This will make it produce 80% more crates than normal, making it one of the most cost and space efficient farming methods in the game. I like to use a tech bot on this overclock to keep it up 100% of the time, but it's not too bad to manually do. From here though, we'll fill out the space around the monkeyopolis with 0-2-3 marketplaces. This will bring us to about round 50 where Moabs start to come. And a fun trick to do with these guys is to place a 0-2-3 spike factory right behind the bloon traps and set it to close. This way we'll have a wall of spikes to handle anything that gets past the traps, but more importantly, the spikes will pop the Moab layer and the bloon traps will instantly trap the ceramics inside. Make sure to give this factory a 300 alchemist for extra popping power, and upgrade your bloon traps to 024s. I sometimes forget to do the second part, but it makes the traps a bit better at this point in the game. Next, we'll just fill out the map with marketplaces or upgrade our current ones around the Monkeyopolis to central markets. Either way is fine, and we'll do this until around 58 where we'll start saving up some money. If you did all these tricks so far, you'll have plenty of money for the tier 2 boss. In fact, this run I had enough money for a Ray of Doom and Mad, though it was definitely overkill. After we beat this, sell your defenders, upgrade the BRF to a Banana Central, and fill the map with BRFs. The best way to do this is to alternate BRFs and 040 engineers and keep your farms overclocked at all times. This will not only make you rich, but also builds wonderfully into the Master Builder Paragon, as you can sacrifice all your engineers later on. After that, all you really have to do is make a massive Monkeyopolis and ultra boost the central market, and your farming is set for the rest of the game. But we still have a few more tips to go over. If you're running Geraldo, he's changed a bit since the nerf to his Quincy action figure. Now, I like to get him down on round 1 and save straight up for this. Because it costs less these days, it won't run away from you in price as fast as it used to, and you can reasonably get it down before round 10. Then it's a very easy progression. Get an engineer for more defense, place a farm and upgrade it to a 200, upgrade your engineer to a double gun, and start working on a lead to gold alchemist. You can get another 200 farm, but we're really just biding our time until around 33 where we'll put Geraldo's camo potion on the engineer. This will beat the round for you, but what's nice is that once you make him a bloon trap next round, his trap will be even better than the version with Benjamin because it can trap camos too. Finally, what I like to do with this setup is after round 34 or 35, I make the Minneapolis. We don't have the time to max out a bank, so you can either go with this or a bunch of marketplaces. Up to you. I've just found that this translates to the mid game much better, but you'll have slightly less money to defend the tier 1 fight with because you won't be selling this tier 5 village. It'll be the one farm you keep through the fight. Everything else you can sell though. After beating the first tier of the boss, farming will go right back to how we did it with Ben. If you're on a map where boat farming is an option, do that. Otherwise, do the double bloon trap with an overclocked BRF. One big thing to do with Geraldo though is to fertilize every farm you can at this point. Fertilizer will make affected farms produce 20% more cash per round, which can snowball incredibly hard. You just have to remember to apply it, which is my downfall. And the final thing you can do to make more money is to stall the boss rounds. There are 2 easy ways to do this. The first is to have a downdraft heli pilot right behind the boss. This will keep a solid amount of bloons stuck behind him, and you can keep them alive by having your tower shoot the boss and not these bloons. This way you can beat an entire tier in just a round or 2. If Moabs are spawning though, like when you're on the tier 2 boss fight, you can use a Moab shove heli pilot or 2 and have them keep the Moabs behind the boss at all times. Then you just have to make sure that no attacks accidentally damage these blimps, and you'll pop the boss before popping the round. The reason this is so helpful for farming is that you'll get way more rounds to farm than if you'd pop the boss normally. In my Vortex fight, I was able to pop the boss before round 41 ended, meaning I gotta sell my towers and farm from rounds 42 to 59 instead of starting much later like on the usual round 46. I did this again for the tier 2 fight and was able to pop Vortex before round 61 ended, giving me another huge head start on farming. But those were 10 tips and trips to make way more money in boss events. With these, you should more easily be able to beat the boss each week.